Guess who's back? And we've got some changes to talk about. So let me go ahead and flip the camera around and catch you guys up to what's been going on. It's been a while, but Supra's still here. Nothing's been done to it except the AMS wind diverters there. There we go, carbon fiber boys. And then it's got like a flash for the body computer, so the auto start and stop doesn't turn on every time, and you can set sport mode to come on every time you start the car. STI's been over here chilling. Nothing's been done to this. It's on the battery tender. I don't think anything has changed since the last time you guys saw it. Probably just some small maintenance stuff, and some more maintenance stuff needs to get done, but yeah, so it's just chilling. Now the main thing that changed with all this time away is we got ourselves a seat time car. So I bought this S2000 last year, a few months after I bought the Supra. It's an AP1 2001, and I did some stuff to it during my hiatus. So the reason I picked this car up is to pretty much have a seat time car so that I can go faster in the STI, because I've learned how to drive better in the Baby Viper, aka the AP1 S2000. So at this point I've done 3 track days in this car, and cleaned up a lot of bad habits that I had that were hiding with all-wheel drive and sticky tires, and just a whole appreciation for how well set up the STI is and how easy it was to drive, because this car is not as easy to drive by a long shot. So quick walk around. It is a project car, so keep that in mind. It's not going to be perfect. And the sticker right here tells you everything you need to know. Relax, it's not a show car. So when I got the car originally, it had a spoon front bumper, spoon hood, which is still on there, spoon S-tie fenders with the cuts where behind the wheels, and I hated how the front bumper and the fenders looked, so I got the originals and put them back on there. And it has, unfortunately, a rep lip, but it's going to get beat up because it's a track car. I added the SOS tow hook. It's got JDM headlights on it. I had TC4s for it and went back to my roots with some Volk RE30s, and they're all 4 square setup, 17 by 9.5 41, and they're wrapped in RT660s 255 all the way around. It's got a hard top on it that I put on, AP2 tails. So the hard top's got glass on it, and it has a defroster and everything. So when I first got the car, the maintenance was like pretty lax on it, so we went ahead and changed all the fluids. So oil, as usual, as soon as you get a car, you change that. What is that? Kids having fun. Yeah, we changed the trans fluid, diff fluid. We rebuilt the brakes, so they've got StopTech stainless lines. They've got StopTech rotors. We have Motul RBF 660. The pads are just some Hawk HP Pluses for right now, since I'm still learning the car and getting used to braking later and later with this particular chassis. Before the first track day, or before the second track day, went ahead and installed pole position. It's got PCI solid mounts, so they're not adjustable because I'm the only one that drives this car. ARC shift knob in there. I made that little cell phone holder. I made a little GoPro mount right there, stock passenger seat, and that's about it for the interior. Super basic, like I said, because it's a trainer car. So yeah, super basic. So we also put in a new clutch in it. It's an ACT HD pressure plate, OEM clutch disc, and an OEM AP1, the lighter flywheel. Other than that, we rebuilt the entire suspension. So it's got PowerFlex bushings throughout. It has new compliance bushings, and probably one of the best AP1 mods you can do for helping with the oversteer. Hopefully you guys can see it under there. Where are we? Poking out right there. Those red toe arms. they help with the suspension geometry. Those are EBS arms. So you get less bump steer in the rear, and it just corrects the suspension geometry from lowering an S2000. So because you corrected that geometry, and as you can see, the mount right there, the mount sits a little bit lower off the knuckle, and that helps correct the geometry in the rear. Helps with your usual AP1 handling characteristics of it being oversteer happy, especially when you encounter a bump mid-corner. Anything that changes the toe dynamically, that's going to be your assistant to helping you have a more predictable car. So the car is pretty much, it's super basic. It's got brakes, wheels, and tires. The suspension bushings have all been changed out, and it has a pole position seat. The exhaust and intake don't really do much except for help sound in the S2000, if I'm honest. So it's the perfect trainer car. The coilovers that it's on right now are just some like really old D2s that are way too soft for this car, but we're making do with it, just to see how basic of a setup I can make successful. We're about to do some exhaust things on it in a second, and just general maintenance. I think the PCV valve needs to be replaced, so I'll do that in a second, and we'll be on our way. So just for reference, this is what the 60RS sounds like, cold start. Not too loud, very mature. We're about to put a test pipe on it for, testing purposes. A little bit more about the interior. That's a Nissan part. It's a seatbelt extender that plugs into the OEM one and just brings the receptacle up to a place that I can actually still use the 3-point. Because this is a street car, I actually daily drive it. So I did do a whole bunch of routine maintenance on this car since it is like a 20-something-year-old car. Just a bunch of random stuff like the passenger door check went bad at some point in its life and wasn't allowing the door to stay open. And then when you would close the door, it would just slam. It wouldn't be a soft close. So went ahead and replaced that. Most of the interior lights were blown because they're all incandescent and old, so I changed pretty much all of the interior lights to new ones. The S2000 interior carpet comes in 3 pieces, so there's the driver's side, the center, and then passenger side. So a common thing on the AP1s, or S2000s in general actually, is the driver's side carpet will just get wear and tear, and literally tear. So I replaced that. As for under the hood, like I said, no real mods, just preventative maintenance stuff and just regular maintenance. The expansion tank cracked at some point in its life, so I replaced that. The idle control valve was dirty, so it had the usual AP1 rev up. So I'd start the car cold, and then the RPMs would just shoot up and down until the coolant came up to temperature, and then the RPMs would stabilize again. So this guy right here needed cleaning. It's gonna be, there you go. The idle control valve there cleaned. The map whack, or whatever they call it, it's just seating the connector on the map, that was done. Clutch master cylinder was changed. Common issue with S2000s. The fluid gets really dirty in these really quickly, so every oil change I just empty out the reservoir and put in new fluid, and that should keep the seals happy. So that was a hybrid clutch master. What else did we do? VTEC solenoid connector was cracked, replaced that. The VTEC solenoid seals were leaky, replaced that. Common thing for the S2000 also was the timing chain tensioner that was getting rattly and sounded like a pack of playing cards, so I changed that to a inline pro one. Random things, this guy right here, the weather sealing on the hood, that wasn't there when I got the car, so did that. Just general maintenance stuff on an old car. It's real. And to be honest, in my experience, the spoon body parts are not that great. I mean, it vents and it does what it's supposed to, but it's pretty heavy and somewhat flimsy actually. Like you can see how much it flexes just by pushing on it. Marsh would never treat me that way. So we're changing that, and we gotta go grab some bolts and nuts. So that's the result as far as sound goes. At hot and idle, it's not that much louder than stock, and not that much louder than without the test pipe, honestly. Sounds good. Smells bad. But that's it for this episode. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Until next time.